We all know the big twist of The Empire Strikes Back, the famous film history moment and pop culture monument line that is, "I am your father," the line that shocked audiences and changed the Star Wars films forever. But is it actually a good plot twist? Now, I know what you're thinking. Of course it's a good twist. It's shocking, unpredictable, and is one of the most iconic moments in all of film. But what actually makes a plot twist good? To determine this, we've got to look at what a plot twist even is. If you look it up on any dictionary, you're basically going to get the same response: an unexpected development in a book, film, television program, etc. This sounds pretty self-explanatory, but there is more to it than that. A good plot twist, objectively, is going to be something that is unpredictable, but something that makes sense narratively. And what do I mean by that? Well, essentially, a good plot twist upon second viewing of the film or reading of the book will make sense. You'll be able to pick out moments the writer purposely snuck in, a sort of subliminal message coded throughout the film that only those who know the twist can see. Certain character thoughts or feelings will now show their true motivations. Lines of dialogue that pass you by will now clearly be purpose for hinting at the reveal. And it can even be as simple as what the camera focuses on a certain scene. It's commonplace to do this when writing a story with a twist. Not only does it back up the reveal narratively, but will make the viewer say, "Oh yeah, I see it now." Using this practice ultimately creates a more satisfying and complete twist. But are all twists good, even if this technique is used? Of course not. Twists can be silly, stupid, disappointing, and lame. The true ultimate purpose of a plot twist is to introduce a story aspect that, again, is unpredictable, but makes the story more interesting. This is undeniably the entire reason for plot twists. If a plot twist is too ridiculous, it will seem far too out of the blue to be satisfying. Same goes for it if it is disappointing, or just not even that big of a twist. I cannot stress this enough. The purpose is to amplify the story's level of interest. To quote Red Letter Media,
I like plot twists that make the story less interesting.
I think that it is fair to say that regardless of the writing technique used to relay the groundwork for a plot twist, the important factor is what it does to the story. Okay, so now that we have this established, let's get back to The Empire Strikes Back. So the big twist is that Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father. In other words, Vader is Anakin. Let's start with the objective quality of this reveal. Let's look at the writing of it. In Star Wars: A New Hope, Obi-Wan, Luke's mentor, tells him that Anakin Skywalker, Luke's father, was a Jedi Knight. He was Obi-Wan's best friend and war partner. Obi-Wan says that his own pupil, Darth Vader, turned to the dark side of the Force and betrayed and murdered Anakin. Until the reveal in The Empire Strikes Back, that's pretty much all we hear about Anakin. There is a moment in A New Hope that could now be seen as a Vader reference. Aunt Beru says that Luke is too much like his father, and Uncle Owen responds with,
"That's what I'm afraid of."
In the context of A New Hope, this was probably just meant to mean that Owen doesn't want Luke to become a fighter pilot and get involved with the Empire and rebels and all that. I doubt this was intended to refer to Vader, as if you look into it, it is unlikely that 1977 George Lucas had any clue that he was going to make Vader Luke's father. A New Hope clearly establishes that Vader and Anakin are two separate characters, and you can get into the argument that Anakin and Vader really are two characters, and I agree with that. But again, I really doubt Lucas had it all planned out, and there's evidence to support that. So, for the purposes of this video, I'm not going to include that reference from A New Hope. But let's actually look at what is shown in The Empire Strikes Back. We'll go through the mentions of Luke's father in the film. When Vader speaks with the Emperor regarding Luke, they speak of Anakin as a separate person. Luke is the son of Skywalker. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Anakin and Vader are absolutely two different characters. Same person, but two separate personalities. This is made clear in Return of the Jedi, when even Vader himself denounces Anakin. While I am aware that is sort of his own topic, we're just going to accept that they're two people. But it doesn't really matter, actually. Still, the entire scene refers to Anakin as a different person completely and misleads the audience into thinking they are not connected. This is a classic case of having characters act as if they don't even know the twist that they'll later reveal. Movies do this often as a cheap way to get attention away from a certain character that will later be revealed as the villain. This makes you think the villain must be good at acting, because how they act earlier in the film doesn't correspond with what knowledge they actually had. This Vader and Emperor scene is really no way a hint at Vader being Anakin, and it's really just purposely misleading. Yoda refers to Anakin as being a powerful Jedi, and when Luke is getting ready to leave Dagobah, Yoda and Obi-Wan's ghost warn Luke not to lose himself to Vader as Vader lost to the Emperor. This is again reaffirming the idea that Vader and Anakin are separate. It's essentially throwing off the nose of the audience, making them have no suspicion that Vader could be Anakin. Yoda and Obi-Wan's actions do make complete sense, though. Breaking it to Luke that Vader is his father would destroy him, as it does to him when Vader tells Luke himself. Fans of The Empire Strikes Back are probably screaming at me right now, because I have yet to discuss the main hint. The cave vision scene. Luke goes into a cave that Yoda claims is surrounded by the dark side. Luke asks what is inside, and Yoda menacingly responds,
"Only what you take with you."
Luke goes inside and fights a vision of Darth Vader. He cuts off the facade's head, and underneath the mask is Luke's face. Now, upon first viewing, this is a metaphor for Luke's fear that he will become like Vader. But of course, upon second viewing, this scene is a direct hint of Luke and Vader's connection. I've heard people claim that this is a stretch to say, but I'm not sure why that would be a stretch. I mean, it's not like the writers did this by accident. I agree that the more obvious message is Luke's fear, but there's no way the writers did not intend for this to also refer to Luke's lineage. This is easily the biggest hint of Vader and Luke. Okay, so that's all the information given regarding Luke and Anakin. As we all know, Vader tells Luke he's his father, and Luke jumps off the edge and all that, and you know the story. So, does this hold up to the standard? There's really only one instance where Luke and Vader's connection is hinted at. The signs are not woven throughout the film. Or are they? Vader being Luke's father absolutely adds to the rewatchability. It gives Vader a purpose. Until Vader is revealed to be Luke's father, while he is extremely cool and menacing, he doesn't have much of a motivation. Sure, he's evil and wants to destroy the rebels and use Luke as a powerful asset, but besides very basic motivations of revenge and being evil, as a character, he isn't very interesting. Yes, he has a defined personality, he's cutthroat, cool, and even cracks the odd joke.
Apology accepted, Captain Nida.
Upon knowing Vader is Luke's father, it's clear why Vader is so persistent throughout the film to catch Luke. He's certain about the rebel base location because he can sense Luke. He's angered when even though they drive the rebels out, he didn't get Luke. He makes a never-ending attempt to catch Luke's friends, knowing that torturing them will cause Luke to come and save them. Vader is given a motivation and an explanation for his actions other than just being the bad guy. This adds layers of depth to Darth Vader's character, and even though this twist doesn't follow the usual standard of adding direct hints into the film about the twist, it actually does something that may even be better. It makes the entire film make sense. Not to mention that it gives more reason to why Yoda desperately wanted Luke to finish training, because, as he says in Return of the Jedi,
"They're not ready for the burger for you."
Yoda's purpose was to prepare Luke for the truth. I don't think it's fair to say that this twist is narratively weak. Even though it only had one hint in the film regarding the twist, the amount of understanding and motivation it adds to the entire plot certainly compensates. There is an entire other factor I haven't even discussed yet. Usually when I think of a film, I like to judge it on that film alone. Of course, keeping in mind the continuity of previous films, but not judging them on the blunders or successes of its sequels. But I can make an exception for Star Wars films, as each trilogy truly is one long story. So I will have this next point be sort of an in addition to, because it is using the graces of another film to show its quality. Luke being Vader's son is the biggest shift in all of the Star Wars films. It makes Luke's goal change from destroying Vader to saving him, as he is the father. It changes Vader's feelings of hatred to love. It makes a cliche good guy versus bad guy conflict into a father versus son emotional journey. Not to mention Luke's experience with Vader changes the way he acts, and makes him balance on light and dark. Obviously, not only does the twist make The Empire Strikes Back better, but it opens up an entire universe of change and development for all the characters and made Star Wars what it is today. In conclusion, I'd say, almost self-evidently, it is a fantastic twist. I went into this analysis expecting to actually find the twist was flawed and not even good, but the more I looked into it, the more I found it to be amazing. There is a reason why people love that twist so much, and it's not just hype or bandwagoning. Because it is genuinely an extremely interesting and just downright great plot twist. If you want to make the argument that it is presented in a narratively weak way, I can understand where you're coming from. As we established, the conventional way of laying groundwork for a twist isn't really used other than the 1K vision scene, and even that scene's main purpose is not to hint at the twist. But to act as though the twist itself is not good or narratively satisfying is really rather foolish. As I stated before, what it does to the film as far as defining motivations, in my opinion, narratively compensates for the unconventional style. And as far as what it does in-universe, it isn't really debatable that Luke being the son of Vader isn't an awesome and extremely compelling plot twist. Going back to what I said earlier, The most important part of a twist, and really any aspect of a film, is for it to be entertaining, interesting, and compelling. And this twist absolutely checks off all three of those points.